The following episode might contain content that you might not be comfortable listening to. This might range from swearing to references to self-harm and substance abuse. Please proceed with caution and don't hesitate to reach out for help if you need it. As much as I like to come into these episodes with a question, I don't really have one this week, to be honest. Or I guess this bi-week, I don't even know. I constantly forget if it's bi-weekly or bi-monthly that it technically occurs. I forget the nuance. But hello. My name is Hazy, Who Killed Hazy, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Only Rain Days podcast. I need to clear my throat. Hold up. Holy Jesus Christ. But yeah, no, I don't have a question. As the title may or may not suggest, the title is technically always a work in progress, just knowing me, and I'm gonna sound like a broken record. And I feel like I even say that every single time I record, but I don't want to say it just, oh well. I don't want it to be a standard, but time and time again, I keep proving it to be such a standard. But as time and history has constantly played itself out in the same way, I'm pretty fucking late to recording. Today is the 28th of February, about 2:30 a.m. at this current moment. So it's Wednesday. It is a Wednesday. This is gonna be out on Saturday. Big apologies to my editor. I swear I need to pay her even more for this type of shit, because I keep doing it and I keep telling her that I'm gonna stop, and then I just don't. But I'm not gonna hide behind this as a reason. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh well, this is the reason, so it's okay that it keeps happening. No, I am 100% to blame on why this keeps occurring. But my concept of time is just fucking terrible. Like, terrible, horrible, horrendous, whatever word you would possibly want to use to describe, just, I don't know. Like, I just don't have a good grasp on it. Like, I recall, I don't even know if it was last Thursday or 2 weeks ago Thursday, but I just recall that like it was like 2 days ago or something like that. Like, it feels so memorable in memory. All the days in between feel like they didn't exist, and that's why it feels like it was way closer than it actually is. But I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but I just don't have it. Like, I'm not all there. I think that's as truthful as it gets. I'm clearly not all there, because I tell myself, even though I would love to have these done in advance, I tell myself not to record until an episode's actually released, so it's just not confusing. I guess confusing to myself, confusing to the people that listen, everything like that. So I try to wait. So, like, they come out early, like midnight Saturday, Central Standard Time. Best time zone, by the way. Don't care what you gotta say. But, the episode will come out on Saturday. I'm like, okay, I have 2 weeks to record. I record it. I send it off to my homie. I send it off to her, my editor. And then once she sends it back to me and everything's like in the pieces I needed, then I can edit it over the course of like a day or two, and then slowly roll out all like the shorts, all the clips of it throughout whatever time's left, and then I'm all good. I need to just follow that procedure. So whenever Saturday comes by, I make sure that it's known. It's like, hey, the episode's out. And then I should get in the mindset of, okay, so what's the next one? And when do I, like, if any point I feel like I'm in a talkative mood, I need to get it out. But then, like, the nighttime comes every single day afterwards. Sunday night comes, Monday night comes, Tuesday night comes. And I always just end up forgetting, or I'm just like, oh, I can do it another day. And then, here we are. Can't even think of the math, but what? It's been 10 days, about 10 days and nights since the last episode came out. And I really consider not even recording tonight. I was unsure if I was in a talkative mood. And I was just like, I don't know. But then I realized what day it was and how much stress I would put not only on myself, but my friend, my editor, for it. And I just cooked breakfast. And yes, I'm cooking breakfast at 2 in the morning. I don't care what you have to say. It's breakfast. All right, it's a bagel sandwich. It's breakfast. But I cooked breakfast, and while I was just cooking, I made a subtle note to myself to just talk out loud, or at the very least, talk more to yourself than I guess you usually do when you're cooking, or like at this time of night. Because I haven't really spoken or had like a strong conversation in about 5 hours today, something like that. So, I've been relatively mute. I've just been enjoying kind of being alone, doing just whatever I want to do. I just played a game with a homie, but we didn't really speak too much while doing it. Just mutual activity and mutual silence because it's late at night. But I made sure to break through that mold so I can get this done for my sake, for my friend's sake, and also just because it needs to be done, quote unquote, because I could just push it off, but between the amount of issues it causes and truthfully the amount that I just kind of talk to myself on a daily basis, it needs to just kind of come out. Because it's clear that I have the things to talk about. I don't know. There's something about just seeing or knowing that the button's pressed that kind of fucks with and alters my brain chemistry. As if it isn't already kind of altered. Because, my distorted perception of time isn't just limited to the idea of, press the button, talk about things. It goes way deeper than that, because like I said before, all the days are getting like jammed together, if not completely ignored. Like I have no perception of time. I won't say words are fucking hard. I won't say that I don't have a perception of time in general, but it's very fucking weak. It's very weak, and trying to cling on to the idea of a schedule for this podcast is like one of the only things I have left to actually try to grasp the idea that time is kind of just, it's going. I don't have a say in it. If one of y'all have a say in time, tell me, and please slow it down, because I don't know what's going on. I'm in a car and it's just barreling down the highway going 100, and I can't say anything. I'm not even in the passenger seat at this point. I'm in the back seat. I don't know who's driving. I don't know who's, shotgun princess controlling the music. Everything's just going and everything's just changing, and I feel like I'm like out of the loop. No one's telling me shit. Like I'm still trying to process that. I guess because today is technically Wednesday. I haven't slept, so I'm hesitant to call it Wednesday. But today is Wednesday. Tomorrow will be Thursday. And then this Friday is going to be March, which means that in less than 48 hours, the second month of 2024 is already over with. And I don't know what the hell is going on this year. I don't fully know. Like I'm not all there. Someone scrambled my puzzle pieces like fucking crazy. Because to think that a sixth of the year is already completed, and I still feel like I'm in January in a way. It's not a comfortable feeling. And maybe like the problem stems from the fact that I measure time through accomplishments, or quote unquote accomplishments, because that's how my life has been for majority of the time. You sit here and you try to understand how much time is passing. So you think about, well, what have you done in a day? And usually, even if days feel the same, there's like enough nuance for you to understand, like, okay, well, this was Monday, this is Tuesday, this is Wednesday. And I guess I'm lacking nuance and accomplishments to really understand just how much time is going by. Because like, even like, I guess throughout my entire life, I struggled with trying to concept just how fast time seems to fly past me. But when I went to school, or when I was still in school, high school, college, both of those, like, the schedules would be varied. Like, Mondays would feel different from Tuesdays because I didn't have like English on Tuesday. So like, I'd have enough variables throughout the day for me to understand that, okay, something's like, things are actually moving along. But nowadays, everything just kind of feels the same. And if a new flavor is involved, then it feels nice, it feels comfortable, it's an interesting, change of pace. And then give it like 2-3 weeks, a month, and it just becomes so stale and boring, regardless of how enjoyable or unenjoyable said task is. Like, when I picked up my current job, I've been working there for 3 years now, 2.5, 3 years. It doesn't even feel like that amount of time has passed. But I remember when I picked it up, it was interesting because it was something new. I'm working in customer service. I need to learn this, and that. I need to be awake and present and, functional at these times. It was, as much as I don't really enjoy working customer service, to be honest, it was just something to get into. So I was interested. And after a couple months, it just feels pretty stale and stagnant. And even the nuances throughout my regular working days, and I've picked up a lot more during the time, even more hours, it still just puts me in a lull. Still just puts me to sleep. Like, I don't want to do it. Like, well, I guess that's been clear. I guess that's been clear since day one. I've never wanted to work in customer service. I got too much anxiety, and quite honestly, I just don't care enough. It's a struggle to want to respond nicely to people who ask quite bluntly stupid questions. Like, it's never been a dream profession for me. So I knew, like, I never wanted to be in it, but I don't know. I thought that in general, customer service should be one of those jobs that does offer variety. There shouldn't, every day shouldn't feel the exact same, but in the day, the job offers nothing to me in terms of actually keeping track of time. I understand certain things, like, some of my tasks need to be done on certain days of the month or certain days of the week. So like, I can keep track of it, but when I look back, it all just seems like one big blur. It doesn't help. But like, I get off of work, and I'll probably get into this thought later, but I think one of my biggest issues with the idea of time passing me by is the fact that truthfully, I haven't been enjoying anything lately. Like, hobbies, like everything, hobbies and everything, just, it's not fun. It's not fun. Like, I'm not even playing games because I want to play games, or I want to feel the accomplishment of playing said games and hitting, I don't know, some sort of accolade. I'm playing games so I don't just lay on the floor or lay on my couch or lay in the bed until I fall asleep eventually, just to repeat the work cycle. Like, the games are an escape from me not even wanting to move at this point, which isn't a good feeling because, games are hobbies. They're supposed to be not necessarily an escape, but you should be enjoying yourself when you're playing games. That's the whole point of playing games. It doesn't, in a general sense, it doesn't really contribute to anything else. Like, it's just supposed to be an outlet for entertainment. and I don't feel entertained. I'll play games with friends, whatever game they ask, and I'm more focused on what the hell, we talk about and what they say while we're playing the game, as opposed to the game itself. The games are just a medium to just be around people, because hopefully they can break that type of cycle. But if they don't break that cycle for me, I will have no problem just excusing myself and then moving my chair, and I will just lay under my desk in front of my heater, and I'll just lay there and listen to music for hours and hours on end until like my back starts to hurt, basically. Then I'll sit at my chair and try to figure out something else to do. Like, the truth of the reality, which is something that's, I don't know if it's hard to admit, but something more along the lines of, I don't really want to admit it. Maybe it's from the problems that could come from admitting it or whatever, but I feel like I talked about this before. My whole general disdain towards the idea of self-diagnosis. Like, I like using self-diagnosis as a way to describe what you're feeling, but I hate when people hide behind it without a proper diagnosis, And I think the best way I can describe it is I might have like DID. I think that's the best way I can describe it. At the very least, I'm just super dissociative. Like, time is clearly something that I cannot comprehend. All right. Like, I was just talking about it with some of my friends earlier today. And the fact that the COVID-19 pandemic was 4 years ago, I took my headset off for a minute and just kind of stared at a wall, trying to process that. When I got sent home from residential high school, I was 16 going on 17. And sitting here today, near 4 years to the day, I'm 20 going on 21. Like, I almost had a little bit of like a mental panic, just trying to understand the full scale of that type of situation. Didn't really go well, but I don't know. I feel like I've just been I can't really get a grasp on anything that I feel like the quote unquote regular person, the quote unquote average person would really understand, or understand enough not to question. Like, I think the better example to lean into as a starter is mortality, which stick with me here, because I know a lot of people don't even fully understand their own mortality. A lot of people crash out and do terrible, odd things just because it makes them feel great in the moment, as opposed to where they'll be later in life. But I don't know. I've been having a lot of thoughts about, like, I guess death, both of my own and of the people that I have lost in my life. And I don't know. I wouldn't say that the idea of losing someone is a foreign idea to me. Like, I understand that, like, I'll never see them again. All right. Like, it's painful. Clearly, it's very painful for some of the people I've lost. Like, at this point, I haven't seen either of my grandmas in at least I can't even think of the years anymore, but it's been like 5 years since I've seen my grandma on my dad's side, and I haven't seen my grandma on my mom's side since I was like 6. Like, the memories of her are very limited at this point, because I lost her 3/4 of my life ago. Like, those memories will only get more and more distant. I lost her before I even got a phone. Before I had a phone, and especially before I had a phone that could even take pictures. So I just gotta make do with whatever I have left. But, the concept of losing other people isn't really foreign, but I've been finding it kind of hard to value my own life, I guess. Like, I know when I talk to other people, then, I'll sit there and I'll tell them, you need to value your life. You need to value the things that you do on every single day, because it will play a massive part into who you are in a month, a year, 5 years, 10 years, the goals you want to see, the person you want to be. Every single day counts. Stick with it. Don't give up on it. If you need help, I'm there for you. it's so easy for me to say that. But when I think about my own life, I don't want to do anything. I think so much into the immediate. And when I think about the idea of death, I'm just like, so what? Like, I don't care. And then it just like bounces heavily. Some days I do care, some days I don't. Some days I understand that my time is limited, that I didn't even imagine getting this far at 20. When I was 15, I was worried about what 17 would look like. What does death even feel like? What is, awaiting me when I do pass? What will that do to the people around me? Do I even care what it actually does to the people around me? To be honest, who would care? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Fortunately, I don't have good answers, but I don't know. I've been super stressed about mortality, and I'm stressed about mortality in the sake that I feel like if I had a better grip on it, then I would do better for myself today. But between not understanding like how much time is passing and not having an inherent care for where my life goes, I have no motivation to really do anything outside of what feels immediately, nice to me, essentially. And even then, sometimes I really don't even care to do what feels nice to me. Some days I'll still just do the worst things because, why not? I'm trying to learn how to care because I guess I just don't really, I don't have a good enough, I have a good enough grip on life. That's something I believe in. But I am too stubborn, egotistical, or quite frankly, just too depressed to even listen to myself, because some of the things I tell myself, some things I feel like I believe in at times are things that I would never utter to another person as a form of advice. I would never, because I know deep down that it's just like, that's a terrible way to fucking think. Like, you're shooting yourself in the foot and you're not gonna get anywhere with that. You're living to die, essentially, if you follow this mindset. That's stupid. Don't do that. And I'll tell someone that wholeheartedly. And then I'll turn around and do the same things that puts me under the living to die category. So I have to really adjust that. But now I think back on it, maybe that was not the best example to lead off of, because the other thing about, like, I guess my supposed feelings of dissociating, my supposed dissociation with life itself is I struggle to just see people as people occasionally, or I guess not occasionally, but just in general. Like, back in the winter of 2022, back when I was working at Amazon, which that's a fucking mental shock to myself as well, because it doesn't even feel like it's been a year since I quit Amazon and all that. But I remember this one moment where I worked my 10-hour shift at Amazon, and I clock out, and it's like one of the big periods where like everyone clocks out because it's the end of third shift goes into first shift. And I'm clocking out, it's like 5 a.m. or some shit like that. And at some point, I think I was like trying to find something in my pocket. I was either trying to find something of mine, or I just stood still and really took it in. But I just remember seeing all the people moving around me, like everyone on like my right, and some people even on my left were all exiting the building. They were all trying to leave, and there was like a subset of people who were coming in, I guess, for the next shift, or picked up a new shift, something like that. And I just remember looking at every single person and like really taking note of what I was seeing. Some people were just walking by themselves. Some people were walking by themselves to have music in. People were walking in groups of 2, 3, 4. A group of 4 would yell at another group of 4 or something like that. And this sounds like a really weird statement to say, but at that moment in time, and when that happened, I was 19. Yeah. At that moment in time, I was 19. I would argue that's probably one of the first moments where I really recognized that the people around me are people, which is a like it seems like such a weird, fucked up statement to really say, but I don't know. Whenever I would ever go out in public or things like that, people I haven't already previously talked to or anything like that, I would just see them as not necessarily pawns, but I would never consider anything. It's just like, oh, there's a person, there's two people talking in the aisle in front of me, but I need to get past them. I'm just gonna say, excuse me, and then walk through regardless of what their response is. Like, I'm not processing anything about them. Not even, in most cases, not even their physical appearance. Like, I'm just trying to get from point A to point B. And I feel like that's been a majority of my life, just trying to get from point A to point B, no regard for anything else that's going on whatsoever. And in that moment, being surrounded by a whirlpool of people who I've seen them so many times from just driving around in the Amazon facility, just seeing them around, like something about that moment of just being surrounded by them is when I really started to realize that, like, I'm surrounded by a lot of people. I'm still trying to get from point A to point B, but like, these are people. Like, they all have like their own intricate, complex stories to themselves. Some might have overlaps and some don't. And I don't know what it is. It's something about that moment really fucked me up, because every time I'm in public, I have like the same realization that just kind of shuts me down for like 5-10 minutes whenever I go outside. Like, unless I like purposely put like some headphones on so I can just listen to music and not have that constant reoccurring moment of realization. Every time I'm outside or I'm in public, I'll just look at someone and I'll just, regardless of what I think, because I don't think much when I look at someone, I'll just stare at them. I'm just like, they have a story. Like, they're a person. They're not just some random, like, movable structure that, is in my life and I'll probably never see them again or anything like that. Like, no, like, I don't know anything about these people, but they have so much depth. Fuck, I can't even say that word. They have so many layers to them that I could not particularly just imagine. And somehow, for some reason, I've never considered that for 19 years. I don't know if not recognizing that is a regular thought or not, but it kind of told me, like, it gave me insight into how much I guess I've been stuck in my own head, because I've never managed to really see people as people. And I guess just being stuck in my head so much for so long has kind of resulted in me just not really understanding anything anymore. Every single day it feels like some sort of inner conflict about what will the day feel like. Am I going to be happy and jovial and imaginative about what the future holds? Am I going to be dark and cynical about the fact that I woke up today and I have I have all these random chores and odd potentials that I don't want to deal with? Like, what am I gonna feel? Like, I never fucking know. I really never know what any day feels like. But I say all that, and I mean, with all that being said and done, I don't think this next statement's really gonna be like, some type of groundbreaking revelation, but I think off that thought alone, I think it's pretty clear, at least to myself, it's very fucking clear that I'm pretty mentally fucking stable. Like, I won't say mentally unstable in the way that, I'm gonna need to be like 5150 or something like that. Like, I don't think I'm not a harm to, I'm not a danger to myself or like other people around me. I don't I don't believe that. I don't think about that. Not really, not much, not really for a second. No, but I don't know. Just the sheer bouncing between like the perception of life itself, I think is something that at least tells me that I'm pretty mentally unstable, because I don't really see that. I don't see this amount of level of just like, oh, everything's just going to shit, ain't it? In like anyone else in my fucking life. Like I don't see it. I do not see it. And the only times I guess I do see it is in individuals that I wouldn't really question that they're mentally unstable to some type of level. At the very least, they just have some trauma to them. Not everything is easily defined in black and white when it comes to people, and I know that. So I'm not gonna try to play that game of assuming and just telling myself like, oh, well, they're exhibiting this, and it's probably this. I don't know. They could be having a phase. This could just be a response to this type of situation due to their history with this type of situation, whatever it might be. But I know I'm pretty I jump all over the place, and I think that's for everything, between jumping all over the place on if I want to choose to try to wake up the next day or not. I think that's almost a coin flip from time to time. And if I'm not questioning on if I want to actually continue with life itself throughout some of the more darker days, is trying to figure out what to do with myself. Which I guess is a nice kind of wraparound from me talking about not finding enjoyment in playing games anymore. I've been trying to just figure out what to do with myself in a way, because if I work, you work, and then once you get off of work, I don't think there's any problem, any shame. There's nothing wrong with just working the hours you need to sustain yourself, and then spend the rest of the day basically doing fuck all. Like, unless you doing fuck all affects someone else, who cares if you want to just watch Netflix for 6 hours and then just go to sleep? Like, I don't think that's an issue. Again, unless it affects someone else, or I guess affects you, because there's still some things that have to be done for your own sake from time to time, even if it's not within the realm of your job. Like, I think clearly that kind of comes with, showering, brushing your teeth, things like that, to, taking care of the living space that you're in, because it needs to be done eventually. Vacuuming, sweeping, taking out the trash, cleaning dishes. It all kind of feeds back into you, because, a clean house it does wonders for your mental health. Same with doing your laundry, which that's a subtle jab at myself, because I told myself I was going to do my laundry today, and I didn't. And I need to get better at that. I've been falling really bad, and I have not been doing my laundry this year. I've done my laundry once, or put my laundry inside my closet once this entire year. I've been trying to get better at that, because I used to be good at it, and I fell off. Got to get back on that, because, despite me not wanting to do it because it feels so tedious for no reason at times, it's still a nice feeling when things are in places that they feel as if they're supposed to be. Even if it's not necessary that they're there, it's a nice feeling. Cleaning the dishes is something that will ultimately come back to your own benefit, between just knowing where things are and not risking, physical issues by having, a month-old fork in your mouth that's, serves you for 15 different meals. Like, that's disgusting. That's disgusting. I'm sorry, but that's just super fucking disgusting. But, once you do things like that, things that, benefit you when you can, try to do your best to do those things that positively benefit you when you can. But, if someone else isn't about to ask you for a certain type of task, I don't think there's any problem with just kind of sitting around. Or sitting around just doing what makes you feel good, or at least just passes the time. It's not actively draining you and taking things away from you. I don't see that as an issue. But I guess I don't know if I want to just say, like, put my foot down and say that sitting idle is something that drains me, or I think more so the fact that I have like these high hopes and aspirations for myself, which I think stems back from being in a career path currently that does not fulfill me in the slightest. Leads me to be very unhappy with the idea of not doing something. And if I'm doing something, I want to aim to either just get it out the fucking way or to improve in it, because, you know, the whole cycle of self satisfaction through accomplishment. You know, it's nice to achieve things regardless of how superficial it might be at the time. So, you know, I could sit here and play Valorant and tell myself you're gonna hit Ascendant, and, you know, the grind towards hitting Ascendant in Valorant is something that can be fulfilling. But I guess I've been trying to find, like, I want an out. I want an out from working customer service, because at this point, with 3 years into the space and like the credentials and knowing how to like write things properly, you know, wrap myself up, let people know that I've done this, I do this, and things I have done, not only within that company, but just otherwise. You know, I could stick with the company and then I could just keep moving up, and I could be in a position where I can work in customer service as either one who was doing it, or eventually, you know, a manager, and being able to just overlook people who actually do that type of stuff. I have a very strong career path that I can lean into if I want to, but I know deep down that I don't want to. So I've been trying to find other things that will make me happy, make me comfortable. You know, if I can, you know, essentially make money and have fun while doing it, I think that's pretty good, because all the traditional paths have failed me in that type of regard. You know, I went through high school, not just high school, but a rigorous high school at that, and every field of study in that school I didn't want to do. I don't want to do anything in math. I don't want to do anything in science or English or history or language or culture. Like, I have no interest. My favorite class in high school was doing art, and I only liked art so much on top of it because I was already doing art on my own. I had a drawing tablet. I was drawing for months, basically a year or two before I signed up for a random art class to fulfill my credits to graduate from high school. And I loved that class the most. So I told myself I was going to go into art school, and I did. You know, I took a gap year because of COVID-19. Then I applied to the School of the Art Institute Chicago. I got in, and I spent time in the school. And then this kind of leads me to talk about one of my dilemmas, which was I didn't have confidence. I didn't have confidence in myself. And also, it took a lot of confidence for that to keep working out for me, because that school was not fucking cheap. Even through reduced credits, I needed, I think, 15 credits a semester. I was doing 12 credits a semester at home online instead of being on campus residency, and it was costing, I think, about $13,000 a semester after financial aid. I didn't have scholarships. That's one thing I really fucked up on throughout my years of high school. I needed to focus on scholarship, but it was costing a lot. And I remember, like, I would talk about the number and I would think about it, and I had conversations with my parents. And like, when I really put that number into scale and I put it into a contest with how confident I felt about pursuing art, I realized that it's like, you know, as much as I am confident, as much as I love pursuing art, making art, this just feels reckless. Because I love art. I still do love art. I struggle with getting better at it, honestly. But at the same time, I haven't focused on trying to get better anymore. I skipped ahead. But, you know, I've just realized that the amount of money that I was spending, which was gonna go up in chasing this thing that I felt passionate about, the risk was just too fucking strong. Too strong. Now, if I really was like pointing out, you know, next work, stuff like Picasso, then I would I would, from that age, from that, year one of college, then I would have kept with it. But as much as I knew I had so much room to grow, it was not, I didn't think it was worth how much I was putting into it or how much was being taken out for it. So I left, I dropped out, and then I think I really made a good decision, because I don't know if it was just like the depression about dropping out or what, but after I dropped out, I stopped making art. I kind of gave up on it, and like I revisited it a little bit later, but it just never hit the same. And I mean, at this point, I haven't drawn anything in, I don't know, it's been like maybe 9 months at this point. Like I don't even, when I look at my drawing tablet that's on my right now, I usually just move it to the side just because there's something, I keep some stuff like under it or like inside the stand of the drawing tablet, as opposed to actually wanting to plug it in and do something. I gave up on that goal, essentially. I stopped trying to do it. And that's been a common theme throughout my life. I talk about it. It's kind of like the theme of last episode, honestly. And this is going to sound like a weird comparison, but stick with me on this. But, it's just like, it's like abandonment issues, basically. That's kind of what it feels like. I have abandonment issues, and in a way, I'm sure it's not that straightforward 1-to-1. I like abandon like everything. If I won't say, at least in terms of hobbies, it's not like I'm afraid of it abandoning me. I don't think my art tablet's gonna grow legs and one day just walk off the butt fuck Mississippi, and I'll never be able to draw again. But I don't know. I just have issues like really sticking with things. I really do. I've what did I say? Jack of all trades, master of none. I think has really fit me well. I've been saying that for probably 8 years now, and I would always say it, and I thought it was like a nice thing, because you have so many talents and all that. And it is a good thing to be extremely well versed. I'm very happy being well versed, but I wish that I had something that really made my heart flutter the way that I think other people have things that make their heart flutter. Like, I remember being younger and I spent some time being into computer science, and I really thought I wanted to be into it. Turns out, no, I hate computer science. But I got some homies who love computer science, and they got jobs or they're working on jobs and degrees within that field, and they'll talk about cybersecurity, game design, all that, until essentially tell them to stop talking. Like they love what they do. Same with math, same with science, same with English. Like a lot of artsy people too. I know a lot of artsy people, and they all like stick with it. But I've never stuck with anything. I remember from the weird dreams and things I would talk about when I was younger, about being a pro boxer and a bartender, to being into computer science and to just being into general mathematics. It's never stuck. It's never stuck. And, I gave up on art, and I still have tried a lot of things. I've played my fair hand into literature when I was younger, and I stepped back into it. Literature, poetry, video editing, color grading for videos. What's some other things that I've because I feel like I've gotten my hand into so many things. I considered game dev, and I realized I went back to coding and I gave up on that. But I've done 2D art, 3D art, graphic design, a little bit of sound design, producing. I lost a lot of the tracks I made. I think I only had like 2 or 3 left, but I remember I got into making lo-fi beats for a while, and I was like loving that type of shit. Making music just in general. Like I've always danced around with everything throughout life. Like, which this will take me to something I'm actually thinking about right now, and it's kind of like a closer, because I have realized how much time has passed. But I remember I first started to produce or have like an interest into it when I was like 15. It was like my junior year of high school. I remember one of my homies supplied me with a very legitimate copy of FL Studio, among some other things. And he gave me FL, and I knew what it was because I had a friend at the time in high school who was really into music. He has songs of his own, and he was producing a lot, mixing and mastering. I was like, damn, that shit kind of cool. And then one of my other friends was able to give me a copy. I was like, hey, dude, you're amazing, man. And he gave me the shit. And I didn't know what to do with it because I had no history with music whatsoever. You know, I've never been taught how to play piano, an organ, a violin. I have no musical capabilities whatsoever, really. But I remember he gave me a shit. And like the first month or two that I had it, I was like pumping out a little bit of shit. And we're just playing around in it. Had my fun, let it go. And I didn't think about it. And like, you know, a year or 2 years later, like while we're still in the heavy part of the COVID-19 quarantine, I remember that I had FL on my computer. I opened it, and that's when I made like, I think 10 to 15 different beats under a random moniker. And like I made them, and I thought about releasing them, and I just kind of never did. Just showed like a friend, like my closest homie, and then forgot about it, and then lost all the files. And like that's like the extent of like where my music prowess came from. But recently, to try to combat both this idea and feeling that I know I don't want to be in this line, the line of work, customer service or anything like it for a future. So, you know, I'm young, 20 going on 21. I know I have a lot of time, despite feeling this deep urge to figure shit out way fucking faster, and I want to figure out things out faster, but I have a lot of time. And like kind of with that, especially with my disdain for like kind of playing games at this point, I'm getting really bored and really sick of it, especially when I'm just sitting here alone. I can only really play games with friends. I've been trying to find new things to do and hoping that I kind of find a piece of myself in it. Maybe finding myself is like a stretch, but I don't know. I just want something to really be like deeply enthralled in, and something that I guess a better way to put it is something I can do more consistently, to my own standards, because like, you know, I love doing this podcast and I love doing things. I forgot streaming. The other thing I've done before, I streamed for like the entirety of 2023. And this works with my point, because one of the things that I'm very strong, you know, very adamant about, and I feel it's been this way for the last 7 years. It's been 7 years? Yeah, it's been this way for the last 7 years, because this podcast was an idea I had back when I was 14. I am very adamant about the idea of mental health. All right, it's something that has been on the forefront of my mind. It's been on the forefront of how I try to present myself towards people I care about the most. And I know that for certain, and I'm not ditching that. I hope I don't. But I don't know how to really go about that type of idea. I thought about making some like YouTube videos, shorter form content, and things like that. But the more I thought about the idea and trying to figure out like ways to expand it, I kind of lost the steam on all that. I enjoy this though. I enjoy being able to sit here and, you know, comb through my thoughts. Hope that it can help some others. And, you know, a lot of inspiration for some of the episodes I talk about comes from conversations I have with other people in the community. So, you know, I feel like I'm kind of doing my part, and I hope I can just keep doing better and better as time passes. Same with streaming. I enjoyed streaming because I was able to talk to so many people in real time about their lives and what they were feeling. And as much as it sucks because I gave up on streaming too. The only difference is streaming really put a headache in me that I'm afraid to fully explain. But the TLDR is that I really don't like being on call like that. Like there's like a certain type of persona, a certain type of like personality you have to put forward to be in that type of space, and that's something I can't do. You know, I'm almost certain, like 10-20 minutes after I finish this episode, I'm gonna go like nonverbal, and I might be like trying to like fucking cry almost. And I have to have a certain level of control on my emotional stability to stream. And lately, I feel like I've been completely very unstable. So I just had to give up on the streaming shit. But I love everything mental health, between mental health awareness and talking about it and trying to understand it. And I think this podcast is a very strong way I can go about it. I have some future dreams that I would love and I will try to go forward with as time continues to progress. But for now, like, I don't really know what to do. I still need something. I still need something more to do with my time, and I haven't been able to really figure out what to do or how to implement anything in terms of mental health for the moment. So not managed, but I've chosen to get back into music as of lately, as a way to pass time, as a way to just figure out more things, like what will stick and what doesn't stick. What do I enjoy? What do I not enjoy? And music's been a pretty fun thing for me lately. I guess at this point I've been kind of into it for the last 4 months, something about that. Shout out to my homie. They know who they are, but one of my good homies. They are very musically inclined, and we get along a lot when it comes to talking about music and everything. And they got me to like kind of start really, like, I started recording some songs with them just like as a joke. Like, I remember we got super fucked up one night, and they invited me to record a verse on a song with them. Like, we were just making it in the moment. And when they heard it, it was just like, you should try to actually make music. And I kind of blew it off for a while, and then I decided to kind of put my foot into it. And it's been fun. It's been a way to kind of find peace and say things that I'm afraid of saying. Like, because I could be like cryptic about it, I guess, in lyrics. So like, I've been having fun with that type of shit. So I did that non-subtle plug. But if you make it this fucking far and you're interested in it for some reason, you might need some help if you're interested in it. But it's a very small name. You won't find links to it when you come looking around any of the shit I have. But if you search up the name Dream Wasted on SoundCloud or YouTube, you'll find I dropped an EP on Valentine's Day called Death Wish. And it's literally just 4 super short fucking songs that I had stored. And then I made them like the first 2 weeks of February, basically. And that's like basically the only things I have front facing. But I was making music, or I was recording music, hit a slight brick wall with it. And hit a slight pivot, because I decided to revisit something that I clearly did enjoy, at least for a moment in time when I was younger, producing. I decided to get back into producing as a way to enjoy my time and to do something other than just play games without an actual interest in playing said game. And I've, as a token to how much I feel about about getting into this type of thing, the same way, even though I hope it doesn't have the same ending, the same way that I bought like a $200 drawing tablet when I told myself that I wanted to apply to art school as an upgrade from my $40 non-display drawing tablet, I've bought myself a MIDI keyboard. It showed up a couple days ago. Just got it set up like a day or two ago. And I mean, it's a full fucking keyboard. This shit ran me $180, which $180 for something that like you weren't playing around in a lot recently is kind of stupid. Won't lie. But I don't know. Like the 2 days I waited for this to get delivered, the 2 days I waited to get a longer cord so I can actually get it set up properly, and then just even earlier today and things like that, and like I don't know. I haven't been this excited to do something in so fucking long. And I don't know. Like I'm just really fucking excited for once. Like I lay in bed and like when I wake up, I think about getting through work, not just to, not have to do shit I don't want to do. But I'm like starting to get through work, just thinking about, oh, when you finish, you can, play around with the keyboard a little bit. Oh, you can do this. Like it's a newfound joy, both just the pastime. At the very least, it should just be the pastime. But I'm curious that if I lean into it, what can I really accomplish with it? Very, very curious about that type of thing. So, here's the hoping, honestly, because that's all I can do, and I think that's the best thing you should do, is hope for the best. I don't know if I want anyone to look at me and be like, oh, you're that one producer or you're that one artist or anything like that. I don't really know if I'm dreaming that far into the future. I don't know if I'm not sure. I'm like kind of manifesting it in a way, but not yet. I haven't leaned into it. Give me a month or two and I'll see where I sit there. But yeah, I don't know. It was an impulse purchase because I just want to feel something. I just want to feel something more than what I have been feeling. Because the last couple months, last 5-6 months at this point, I have felt, fucking terrible. I felt fucking terrible, and I don't really enjoy it too much. It's hard to do shit by myself. It's hard to do shit with friends. It's hard to get out of bed. It's hard to exist. Shit, it's hard to fucking exist. Sometimes I've had days where I barely even want to do my job, or I fuck up job performance. That fucks up other people's lives, and that's the one thing I always pray I don't do, is to fuck up and ruin and make other people's lives harder. But even avoiding that path, which is like the one thing I really don't want to do, that's been hard lately. Like I've just been I've been struggling, but fuck it, we ball. I don't know. Fuck it, we ball. I can't allow myself to just focus on the fact that I'm struggling as a way to warrant the fact that I'm struggling. I kind of have to just like shake myself out of it, whatever it fucking takes. If I gotta sit here and basically uninstall every game on my computer, that way I stop sending myself in such a depressive episode, then shit, maybe that's what I need to do. I've been trying to work out more, and working out more has also helped me with trying to find motivation in doing things that will benefit me in the future, as opposed to what benefits me in the moment. I gotta find that reminder that, hey, things will be okay, and things could be even better if you actually just lean into it now. So if you want to see the beauty on the horizon, then just find the way, make the time, and eventually it'll just feel better. The same way when I was younger, I would only play like video games for 30 minutes and then it turned into 4 hours. If I could just find something new that interests me, if I just keep leaning into it, eventually it would just feel natural to spend so much more time doing it. And who knows, maybe this time around it'll actually do me better. But hell, I don't fucking know. I know that. I just have to convince myself. I get way too confused. I get confused. It's the concept of time is, I won't say it's not a friendly one, but it's one that's not friendly to me. I don't know. I always feel as if I wish I had more time, but I'm not doing anything to give myself more time. I'm allowing the time to kind of slip through my fingertips, or they slip between my fingers like sand in the palms of your hand. I just gotta change what I'm doing, I just need to move with more intent, basically. I'm moving around just doing whatever feels nice in that particular minute. I just need to, keep my head on top of my shoulders, remind myself what I see for the future, remind myself what I need to do to see that type of future and execute the shit. It's really that simple, you know. I think the only way I can really put it is that I need to just constantly remind myself that I'm a person that exists.